Alien Romulus. More like Alien Freakulus, am I right? Because this was freaky. Anyways, I just got off seeing Alien Romulus, if that wasn't obvious enough. So, just been rewatching all the Alien films. I managed in time to watch Alien 1, 2, 3, aka Cubed, and Resurrection, and then I watched Prometheus. So I didn't rewatch Covenant. I don't really feel the need to. Covenant kind of fucking stinks. By my memory, at least. I mean, Resurrection's probably worse. And Alien vs. Predator, the second one, is also probably worse. But, I mean, granted, Covenant is still not a good film. It's pretty fucking stupid. I was pretty excited for this, though. Fede Alvarez attempting to make an Alien film just sounded kind of fun. I felt like he had the chops and directing style to pull off something at least remotely entertaining, well tension-filled, and probably pretty violent. And to the amazement, I'll say this. If you are going into this because you're like, oh, fucking Evil Dead 2013 gore, the gore in that movie, shit, give it to me now. I want to see that. Now, it's not that graphic, and it's not nearly that bad. It's honestly, like, pretty tame. It's probably, even to Don't Breathe, I don't think Don't Breathe is super gory, but just with some of, like, the stuff going on in that movie and the graphic, it's probably, like, more graphic than this. This is probably his least graphic film. And that being said, it is still pretty violent, disturbing. You wouldn't take a fucking 8-year-old to go see it, but, I mean, out of all of his films, it's probably the least violent. So if you're going for that reason, maybe not, but in terms of just the suspense and the characters of the story, I thought this was a damn good Alien film. It's got some very solid performances, some good characters. I think at least the main two characters of Andy and Rain, which are Kaylee Spaney and David Johnson, who plays the android Rain. This is said like 5 minutes into the movie that he's an android, so just letting that be known. It's not really a major spoiler or anything. I thought those two were great. All the other characters, they're kind of forgettable. I could probably tell you their basic names, but I can't tell you much about them. Basic premise of Alien Romulus. These teenagers live on this mining planet where you're pretty much a slave to work all day. Everyone's getting constantly sick and dying at a younger age. They don't really get to grow up and have life. So these teens who are troubled and kind of just like fucking hate being there decide, hey, we see a ship that is up ahead that can take us to another planet that the main girl knows about, and they can live there happily and peacefully where there's actual sunlight. There's no sunlight on this planet either. They can actually just live their lives freely without working and slaving away and then just, dying at a pretty young age. So they see a ship above. They said there's escape pods in it. We got to get there. And, Alien movie kicks off from there pretty much. They're on a ship. Turns out the ship they're on had a fucking xenomorph and facehuggers and creatures on it. Guess what? They got to escape. They got to get out of there. They fucked up. They picked the wrong ship to go on. It's your kind of typical tension-filled movie. It's definitely like a better reasoning than in Covenant. Like in Covenant, when you're like, oh my god, it's like 80 of the fucking passengers on board died, including our captain, because the cryo sleep pods are like too dangerous to be in. Well, thankfully there's a planet that's only like a few days away, and it's apparently better than the planet we're already going to. It's breathable and habitable. We can live there. Yeah, because it didn't show up on the radar earlier. Fuck it, let's just go. I'm sure nothing bad could happen. Clearly something fucking bad happens in that movie. At least this film, it gave a reasoning where I'm like, it's valid. You want to get off this fucking hellhole. It's not like you're aware there's an alien on it. You're just kind of doing a slight crime to get to your freedom. And, that's like a heist film, like a basic way of that. But then the film obviously turns into an alien film. So I would say the first, 30 minutes, I'm like, yeah, kind of its own cup of tea. The second act, definitely Alien. The third act, definitely Aliens. Because I've heard people say this is kind of a big kiss ass to all the previous Alien films. It's like The Force Awakens, I've heard some people say. Not to that extent of fan service and being the exact same film, but in many elements it definitely does feel like the first two movies combined. And shit, and by the end of it, they throw in reference to Prometheus. They throw in a plotline from Alien Covenant. They have a similarity to some of the shots and sequences in Alien 3. They're even how the movie kind of gets into every Alien movie. Everyone has a fourth act. You're always like, it's over, and then it's like, not over. I'm not going to say what it is, but it relates to another one of the Alien films. It just kind of takes a bunch from everything, which isn't bad, though, because it still feels like standalone 90% of the time. And I think the two lead characters are so likable. And fuck, dude, the set design, the cinematography, and the practical effects are all great. If the movie didn't look as good as it did and didn't have as good of performances and it wasn't just like very well shot and directed by Fede Alvarez, I do believe that this film would have been probably about the level of like a Prometheus, where I'm like, it's okay. I mean, this one didn't try to get philosophical, even though it's kind of stupid in some of the philosophical elements that it's trying to explain to me. But I think that overall it worked in its favor, that it didn't try to push something a little too far or to be something so crazy. Like Fede Alvarez at the ending, he's like, I gotta give something to shock the fans. Like when you watch the last 20 minutes of Don't Breathe, you're like, oh fuck. You watch the last 20 minutes of Evil Dead, you're like, the 2013 one, you're like, oh fuck. And you watch the last 20 minutes of this, you're like, oh fuck. Like he always throws something at you where you're like, all right, here's the fucking bad shit thing, the thing that's gonna get the eyes going, oh my, ooh. And it did it for the entire theater. The people were losing their fucking, they were like yelling, but they were like, you know, there's that slight sentiment of like, yeah, these people are kind of losing their goddamn minds right now, freaking out over a bunch of this stuff, and it's completely valid. It's like a slightly shocking, disturbing thing. For me, it didn't 100% work, but I thought it was fun. It made it entertaining last like a couple of minutes, so I can give it that. There's not really much to say. It's just a well-intentioned, thought-out movie. It's pretty good. I think I was way more entertained, and as an Alien fan, especially of the original two movies, and I have, even though I didn't like Alien 3, I have like a lot of appreciation for it, for sure, in some ways. Some things it does are pretty fucking awful and stupid, but some things I really do enjoy about it. And I don't mind Prometheus that much, honestly. But to be fair, it's just like there's something about the franchise that's so exciting. And this movie truly does feel like a video game. Like, I know that Fede Alvarez mentioned in some interviews he drew inspiration from Alien Isolation. Fucking clearly shows. There's so many like great scenes. They feel like puzzles and escape scenes. Like, how do we get around the facehuggers? There's a great scene where they have to just try to escape these facehuggers by being quiet, stealthy. It involves body temperature, movement, sound. It's so fucking well done. There's another one where there's everyone knows the aliens have acid blood that like just rips through your skin. It's so fucking strong of acid. So they have to like use zero gravity floating through the acid without getting killed. That's an amazing sequence. There's like scenes like that where I'm like, it truly feels like we're going through multiple levels of like a video game like Alien Isolation, and doing it in its own unique way where this film takes place. It does take place between Alien and Aliens, and they make that pretty clear. Like, Prometheus has already happened, Covenant has already happened, and the first Alien we know as a fact has already happened. You'll see at the very literally the first shot of the movie, again, not a spoiler, it has like, it's just like a basic build-up thing, because everyone knows it takes place between the first two, if you've read about it online and you've heard interviews about the film. The Nostromo is the ship from the first movie, is like shown at the very opening scene of this film. So, you know, expect stuff like that. For me, it was extremely entertaining, very satisfying as an Alien fan. I don't think it's like a perfect movie, but the most I can complain about is that it's just kind of basic at times, and some of the other side characters, I mean, our lead characters are great. Like the main two that you would be there for, you're like, yeah, you fucking rule. Everyone else is just kind of like, slightly disposable. It's kind of how they always feel in a lot of these movies. But with the first two movies, it's like, fuck, you don't want to see like any of them die. And this film, I'm like, I don't mind if you guys aren't here. I want these two motherfuckers to live. Like, hopefully they do. So you're definitely rooting for them throughout the film. Not going to say if everyone lives or not, or who lives, but there's definitely two characters in particular you're going to have more of a heartfelt, emotional connection to, I would believe. So yeah, a very enjoyable film. I'm thinking a very, like, it is so entertaining. Like, I do think I would buy this. Again, I'm obviously going to, because I don't know the other Alien films. I would buy this to, like, put on at home if I needed a good tension-filled horror film. It's a solid one in the franchise. It's the best Alien film easily since Alien 1 and Aliens. So I can give it that for sure. It's not a perfect film like those two are, but I think it's really good at what it's doing. I would go a solid 8 out of 10. I was thinking like maybe like a high 7, but no, I think this is so entertaining. I definitely think on like a rewatch, some of the things I didn't love might just be fine now that I'm expecting them. They might hold up better on them. And I'm seeing it again actually tomorrow with my dad. So that'll be very much fun to see with him. And I'm going to IMAX, so it's going to be popping, you know what I mean? So yeah, I would say a solid 8 out of 10. Very entertaining, very well done if you want that kind of film. It is, yes, could be argued as basic. And the last 15 minutes, I've heard so many people online say, it's going to make it or break it for you. Like, if you're not already into the movie, that could actually make it for you. And if you if you like are into the movie, it could break it for you. Or even possibly, you could be into the movie and that shit could still make it for you. Like, you could just have a fully grand experience. And in which case, I would say I did. Even if I don't adore the ending, I think things about it I really liked. And the practical effects and sets, obviously, throughout are pretty great. The times it's CGI is a bit noticeable, but it's blended in so well into the atmosphere, it's not too bad. But when it's, like, practical, you're like, holy shit, that just feels like I could touch it. And it also feels like whatever I could touch could absolutely just fuck me up, like destroy me. So I'll give it that. Very well done. So go see Alien Romulus this weekend if you're an Alien fan or a horror fan or just a sci-fi fan. I would recommend going to check it out. If you're like having concerns like, I don't want another Prometheus or Alien Covenant, it's not that. I think if you're a fan of the first two, you're going to get enough out of it. It might be a little fan servicey in parts as a legacy kind of prequel sequel, but it doesn't push the movie down by much. I still think it's extremely enjoyable, all things considered. So yeah, I'm going an 8 out of 10, and that's about all I have to say for Alien Romulus. Had a really good time. Next movie I should be seeing is Dee Dee this weekend, and I'm going to try and also go see Skincare if I have time. Not super interested in that one, but I do like Elizabeth Banks and Lewis Pullman, and I'm down for a solid suspense film. I hear it's pretty good, so we'll go check it out. But yeah. What's your favorite Alien film? That should be a question in the video off. Really, I know everyone's going to say Alien or Aliens, although I know there's a few shooters out there for Alien 3 and Prometheus. So if you're a shooter out there and you want to be like one of those two, fucking genuinely let me know. I'd be so curious to hear, and why. For me, it's Alien. I think the original for me is the best. Aliens is so fucking entertaining and also a perfect movie. Like, one of my favorite movies of all time, as well as Alien, but I think Alien just is a little bit more my speed, and I liked a little bit more what they did with it, but that's just like a slight difference for me. And yeah, don't think I have much to say. All right, I'll see y'all later. Bye.